Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today I will explain what is data engineering. Although data engineering is a complex job, it requires the knowledge and experience of many services and many activities related to data. But in the very short, I will explain overall integration activity, or you can say the very major job done in the data engineering. So as you see in the slide, the data engineering is made of these three major activities. First is the data collection, second is the data processing, and third is the data serving. I will explain a small description of all these three activities. What is data collection? Because data engineering is totally based on the data, which is very huge in size. It has a variety of data. It may be textual data, it may be relational database, data from the relational database. It may have the data of social media. Data can be the image, video, or sound, is voice. Data is collected from the different sources. Either it is the on premises, or it is the other cloud, or it is the social media, on other things. So data is collected from different sources. This is the first main activity. And after the collection, data is processed. We will see in the next slide a little bit more detail about all these three activities. Collected data, which is called raw data, is then processed. And this processed data is converted. After processing of the data, data is served for the data scientist for analysis, machine learning, and AI. Now come to the next slide. Here you can see the same three activity in a little bit more detail. You can see this is from here to here. This is the data collection activities. This is the data processing activity, and this is the data serving activity. In computer world or data engineering world, it is called ETL process. E for extract, T for transfer, L for load. ETL process. So data collection is further consist of these three smaller activities, or it can be divided into three other activities, smaller activities. First is finding of, extracting, find uh, where is the location of your data outside any cloud. Suppose in this case AWS cloud. So it may be the on-premises data, and if it is the on-premises data, so data format may be of different. It is the relational database, data from the relational database, or it can be from a textual data from the Excel sheet. So, or it can be a social media data from the social media. Okay, it can be the log file. It can be the from the API. So variety of data, and this data is also either structured, semi-structured, or unstructured. A structured data means a kind of relational database system where everything is properly divided in a structured way. In a semi-structured is something like JSON file or XML files kind of thing, Parquet file. And the unstructured data is like a media file, image, video, and voice. Okay, that comes out as a unstructured data. So from all this variety of data in some of the project, this has to bring in some place where it can be a large amount of data can be stored. Okay, now this data has to bring into inside the AWS so that it can be processed using the services available in the AWS. Okay, this is one kind of activities in the data engineering. If you want to process the data inside AWS, in that case, but to bring the data from outside AWS to inside the AWS, you need first connectivity between this place to this place. For connection, there are many services available in the AWS, like connection and transfer of data. There's many services. These services are listed like Transfer Family, Direct Connect, Amazon S3 Transfer Acceleration, S3 Browser. These are the online transfer method services, and this is the offline. If it is in a remote place, large data is in the remote place, then this data has to be brought to the some stored in some storage device, and this device has to be transported to the location of AWS. Okay, there is some other kind of application specific data, application specific method for the connectivity and transfer of data into storage, cloud storage, in this case, AWS cloud. Okay, now in AWS cloud, storage is very common storage is the S3, and it can be RDS, or it can be RDS, some relational database. Okay, so S3 is the most common. So it can store a very huge unlimited size of data, and with variety. That means it can store all kind of data. So basically, it is the object storage. Now, all this data through this bridging services of AWS will be transferred into the AWS S3 storage. Suppose others we are not detailing, but suppose it is stored in the S3. A huge amount of data, or thousands of terabytes of data is stored in S3 in a systematic and organized manner. Then after storage, okay, one more thing. Once it is storage here, because it is data is very raw, that means it is not properly processed. So it is called the raw data, and the collection of raw data of very large size is called the data lake. Okay, so this raw data is that needs to be processed. Now, AWS has the many services for processing the data. So there is AWS Glue is very common. Amazon EMR Elastic MapReduce, which is parallel processing using the cluster environment. Other things are again there is batch processing, there is real-time processing, and there is serverless processing. In batch processing, Glue, EMR, AWS Batch, these services are the most common. Glue is the maximum important thing, because using this you can create the data pipeline. If with the real-time data, like data is coming from IoT sensors, then you can use real-time streaming process or services, and you can also use the serverless services like AWS Lambda. It's very useful thing. So Using some of these a group, some of these services, you can convert, you can transform the data into a clean data where duplicacy is removed, null value, invalid value is removed, format is made like a format is made uniform so that the different tables can be joined, or different query can be joined from the different source. Okay, so this activity is called data processing and or the transformation. In the ETL, it is called transformation. Okay, or it is data processing. After this processing, it is again stored in some place where a huge amount of data can be stored. So again, there is a Amazon S3 where you can store raw data also, and in another bucket you can store the processed data. You can use the Redshift also, but the Redshift had the restriction that it can store only the structured data. S3 can store all kind of data. So these are services. Other services are this where you can store. Okay. So process storing the process data. Here the raw data after processing converted into the clean data, and this will be called the data warehouse. Okay. So difference between data lake and data warehouse is what? Data lake is a raw data, a large collection of raw data, and data warehouse is the large collection of process data on which you can work for analysis or data science, and you can apply AI ML. Because unless the data is not perfect, you cannot apply machine learning or artificial AI. Okay. And this activity, storage, and this working on this clean data is called the data serving or loading. Okay. So this is the basic. Again, going back to this one. So there are three major processes: data collection, data processing, and data serving. Okay. And to achieve these three activity, you need good amount of knowledge of the cloud, data, data structure, and major services of AWS, and other things you have to learn. Networking you have to learn. Identity and access management you have to learn. So all this to achieve these three activity of data collection, data processing, and data serving, you must have the knowledge of many services. So all the services are around around and for the purpose of achieving these three activities. Okay. So I hope you have well understood the at least fundamental of data engineering. What is data engineering? How different? Why you need a different set of services? Different services of AWS, because these are the core services which is directly utilized in the data engineering. Other services like IAM, then notification SNS service, notification service, then monitoring service. Oh, okay, all these are the supporting services. The core service is this. Okay, and main activity of data engineering is these three. You must remember: data collection, data processing, data serving.